Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to our last session of the TeachBG event. Thank you all for coming to this last session. For those of you who have forgotten me already since the short time ago that we met in March, I'm Mike Genetti, College Credit Plus Falcon Grant Coordinator. Thanks again for all of you joining us here today. For this exciting announcement, we have kicking off the professional learning communities that are associated with the grant program. As you know, there's a variety of teachers associated with the grant program, some of whom won't be able to be with us today, so WBGU is videotaping this session for us, so we'll be able to share with your fellow colleagues in the grant program. So this is kind of formally announced the professional learning communities and what these are in the grant program. So essentially, this is a support structure that we're going to use to help you succeed in the Falcon Grant Program. When we wrote our grant proposal to the state of Ohio to receive this money to pay for you to take graduate classes towards your College Credit Plus credentialing, one of the items that we wrote into our grant proposal were these professional learning communities, which is a mouthful, so I'll just refer to them as PLCs. And they're going to fulfill a dual-fold purpose for us in the grant program. So they're support structures for two purposes. One, to assist you as graduate students as you're taking classes through the grant program. And secondly, to assist you as College Credit Plus teachers as you prepare to teach College Credit Plus classes, many of you for the first time. So it's kind of a dual-fold function and purpose. And we're kind of formally rolling those out here at this event, and they'll be a part of the grant program going forward. So we have established online professional learning community sites on Canvas, which you're already familiar with through today's training as well as your online graduate coursework. So there's going to be an online component to these PLCs, as well as in August, we'll be looking to have a face-to-face professional learning community meetings. Now, after today's event, you'll be receiving surveys asking you about, of course, today's event and what you liked. Always say that lunch was the best part, right? But you will also have the opportunity to suggest locations for a potential meeting in August, where a place that you thought might be an appropriate venue. There's also the ability to write in some options. We have listed some options there as well. Also, the ability to meet via technology. Also on that survey, there'll be the opportunity to suggest what might helpful topics or discussion board topics or items that you'd like to discuss in a professional learning community. And once again, these can be for helping you as a student, but also helping you as a teacher. And these are all items you can also post on the online PLCs to help the PLC advisors better tailor the PLCs to your needs and what would be of most use to you. So we have four PLC advisors, one for each of the 4 disciplines associated with the grant program, and we'll be calling them up one by one to kind of run through the Canvas sites that they have established for you to kind of kick off this process. Let me check my list, see if there's anything else I was supposed to cover. Yeah, so any feedback you can provide on that Canvas site will just make it that much better, and we can tailor it and customize it more to your needs. So first I want to call up Dr. Bill Albertini from English and Dr. Cheryl Hoy from GSW to walk through the online English PLC. Who's going to start off? Okay, Cheryl.
Is our site up?
You just need to click on...
All right, thank you. I'm going to take you through the general studies writing portion of this site. It's also a combination site with the English graduate degree information, but I'm going to take you through the GSW portion. See if I can figure out how to scroll through here. Maybe you can do that. Okay, so in the general studies writing portion, we have an announcements area, and underneath that you'll see GSW facts. These list of questions are actually sections from our faculty handbook. And if you just take a look through them, they'll answer your most common questions like how do students get placed into GSW? So there's information in that link that takes us to our placement process. We have an online placement process, and it talks about the entrance criteria you use to evaluate essays, how students get to the, how do they do the essay, what does it involve. It's an article with some prompts online that they submit an essay to and how long it takes. So that is that particular document. If you want to go to the next one. The next document, what is taught in GSW courses, is the description for each of our 3 courses. 2 of the courses, GSW 1110 and 1120, are the ones that are in the CC Plus program. And this is the general description of each course. And then underneath that, you'll see specific skills taught in each of the courses. And that gives you more details as to what students are expected to learn in each course. These are not the learning outcomes, but these are the skills that are taught in the courses and what students are expected to know by the end of the course. Okay, next one. Okay, these are our GSW learning outcomes. Our learning outcomes are based off of our professional organization, the Council of Writing Program Administrators. Their learning outcomes, ours mirror those learning outcomes, and our learning outcomes are also nested into the BGP, our Gen Ed learning outcomes. And our outcomes are the English composition and oral communication. And if the students meet the ECOC outcomes, they've also met our GSW outcomes. If they meet our GSW outcomes, they also meet the ECOC outcomes. So they are nested into each other. And there's 5 learning outcomes for GSW: rhetorical knowledge, critical thinking, reading and writing, writing processes, knowledge of conventions, composing in electronic environments. And then the one that is in addition to the CWP, learning outcome would be values exploration. Okay, the privacy guidelines deal with FERPA issues and students' rights to confidentiality. So you want to take a look at that. These are college students when they are in our courses. And so we have to adhere to all FERPA rules and regulations. This is a resource site. We have the Learning Commons, the Writing Center at the Learning Commons that your students will also be able to go and make use of. We have a strong Writing Center staff that's very familiar with our courses, and so we have information about writing consultants in this section, and also I think we have the library at the end of this. There's some library resources as well. I can just go ahead and list them. The next portion is student evaluation of instructors. We do a midterm course review, instructor review, but then we also do the end of term evaluation, and we use an online evaluation system for this. And the online evaluation system is through Canvas, so it'll be in your students' Canvas course shell for GSW. And they'll also receive emails, automatic emails with a link that takes them right to the evaluation. We ask that you have students check their BGSU email account for these. The midterm is about at the 6th-week mark of the course, and then at the 16th or the 14th week mark for the end of term. If you could remind students to look for that and to complete the evaluation. We also have our master syllabus. We call it the achievement requirements, but it's the master syllabus for 1110 that you can use. And working with your mentor, you can decide any areas you want to tweak. Then we also have an overview, a course schedule. If you want to click on GSW 1110 course schedule. Oh, that one's good too. In the course schedule, it's not day by day or weekly or day by day, but it's weekly. So if you're working with your mentor and you're deciding how many hours or how many days each week to cover the same amount of hours that we would normally teach, you would look to see what's taught in each week, and you can better organize your class materials and your activities according to this overview, this syllabus overview. Okay, and underneath that, we have some additional resources. We've got a GSW YouTube channel that has some sources that you can use. GuideWire is a site that's through the Learning Commons, the Writing Center. It's set up like more of a Pinterest look to it. Then we have the 2 LibGuides. The LibGuides are resources that the library has developed, and they're quite extensive, and they're broken up into the first year introductory writing course, the 1100, 1110, and then the research writing course. And you can see it has a bunch of tabs on it. Feel free to incorporate this in any way that you want into your course materials, but also into your Canvas shell. You can go ahead and upload a link right into your own Canvas shells to this. And that's GSW's portion of the English placement site, or the English professional learning community site. You gotta get used to all these learning communities.
I'll real quickly just run down. I'm Bill Albertini, and so I'm overseeing the graduate studies portion of this. So if anybody wants to take graduate courses or is taking graduate courses in English or is interested in a master's degree, I'd be the one to talk to. So what we have up here right now is pretty basic. It's just links to sections of our department website, and the most obvious place probably for people who are in the Falcon Grant is our online MA programs. We have 3 different tracks. They're detailed here. And if you're taking courses, if you're just sort of interested in courses generally speaking, if you're finishing up the kind of basic courses for the grant and you're moving forward, the course description section here on our online MA website will take you to our course descriptions from the last many semesters, and you can see on there, you'll get both the online courses we're offering in a specific semester and the face-to-face ones, and then down below there are detailed descriptions of all the courses and how to go about getting involved. But if so if you're already taking classes, you can look there if you're sort of thinking about future semesters. And if you're interested in the master's program, most of that information should be here, but you can also contact me or the graduate secretary. Our contact info is on here, and we can give you whatever you want to know. The other thing that would be really helpful, just if you guys, anybody out there has questions or ideas about what you want this PLC to be, because I have no idea and I want you to tell me. So we set up some discussion boards on that PLC site. There's a section there about English graduate. There's a welcome where you can introduce yourself if you're part of this, and then some places for GSW questions and English questions. And as people ask questions about grad courses in English or grad study, I'll start filling in stuff in the PLC website to kind of address those questions and give you guys more detailed answers. But help me by telling me what you need to know. That would be super helpful. That's all. I'll stop taking up your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hoy and Dr. Albertini. Really appreciate that component for us today. At this point, I would like to introduce Dr. Eileen Underwood from biology to introduce her professional learning community.
Okay, ours is definitely a work in progress. I just started it yesterday. If we get to that course shell and make sure we go into the student view. So go down to settings, settings all the way at the bottom. Up at the top, student view. Okay, so what we simply have is a home page telling you that it's the biology department announcements page, and I'm just going to go through the links. On the left, we go to the announcements, and at this point, we simply have a welcome, giving you contact information for Matt Parton and myself, because we are the 2 people coordinating the learning community. Next, if you get down to files, we've broken it into different courses that you will potentially be teaching eventually. So biology 1010, 1040, 1080. Right now, those links simply show the syllabi for BGSU current courses. Once we get some teachers who are currently teaching to have modified their syllabi to reflect what we would need for the BGP requirements, we will also add those so that you can use them. Feel free to generally copy and paste. Use these as guides. Then if you work down a little bit further, we have the graduate course syllabi as well up there, so you can find them here. Alternatively, you can go to the modules section, and in modules, we've kind of grouped them by graduate course information. Right now, they're simply the 3 syllabi that I know were finished. The other 2, since they're not being offered until the second 6-week session, the syllabi aren't ready. We again have in this same site the place where you can find the syllabi for courses that I know teachers are going to be teaching in the fall or the spring. And then again, we will put the CCP courses once we have some. And at this point then, discussions, the only discussion board we have so far is simply the one asking you to introduce yourself if you're in our learning community. Just say a little bit about yourself. I threw that up and threw a little bit about myself. Matt will put his information up there too. If you need to email any of the people in the program, you go to the people link and it shows you who's there. And if you click on the name, it should give you their email address, I hope. Okay, they've changed it. I'll figure a way for you to be able to see their email addresses, and we'll put it someplace else. At this point, there are no official assignments. When it comes time for BGP, we will assist you. Once you're teaching courses as CCP courses, we will assist you to put the learning outcomes, and if you click on quizzes at this point, you can't see them because they haven't been published yet. We will simply be putting the ones that you need to import into your Canvas course shells once you're teaching courses. But since all of the people in the learning community, no one's teaching courses for this first year, we don't have anything out there yet. And that's basically what we have.
That's fine. Thank you so much, Dr. Underwood. This time I'd like to introduce Dr. Michael Brooks from History to introduce the History professional learning community.
All right, welcome. I'm also the graduate coordinator in the History Department, so if you have questions regarding graduate study, the degrees or certificates that we offer, then I'm the person to see on that, as well as the PLC here. So we're waiting for it to get pulled up. Ours too is a work in progress, although we got a cooler montage going on here than, but yeah, that I just stole that from one of my other courses, so I didn't put much effort into that. If you go to modules, we've got everything organized under modules. So starting at the top, we have our guidelines for the 1,000 level and 2,000 level courses, which is the survey level courses, 1510, 1520, 2050, 2060. Information about BGP learning outcomes for the department for each course is included in there. Scrolling down a little bit, you have sample syllabi. The top one is, in fact, just this morning, somebody suggested we could have a template with everything that you'd need to include in your syllabus. So I just put that together in between sessions today. We're going to have some sample assignments, examples of discussion prompts, if you're going to use discussion forums in your classes, essay questions, sample assignment prompts, that's all going to be located in there. Information about BGP assessment is going to be in here. You'll also be able to import to your course the appropriate BGP assessment rubric that you can use. I've included in here some open source textbooks, and I'm going to put some more in there as they become available that are usable for college level courses. So I've got the U.S. history is the OpenStax text, which covers both halves of the U.S. course. The history in the making only covers the first half of the U.S. course. And then down below, we're going to add videos that we have found to be useful in the classroom. I'll put them in, actually I was talking to Dave Perez, our peer mentor, that he's converting a lot of his YouTube videos into MP4s, and that's pretty universal file format. But if you have questions, we also have a questions section on the discussion, and I'm going to add an introduce yourself. That's a good idea. So just leave the questions for us, things you'd like to see in the professional learning community, things you'd like to see in terms of resources for graduate study. We'll be happy to accommodate you and put that information out there for you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brooks. And last but certainly not least, I want to introduce Dr. Amy Robinson from Spanish to introduce the Spanish professional learning community.
We also have a similar looking page that's designed to provide a format, an archive, receptacle for things that should be interesting for you all. Right now I've put things sort of as placeholders and modules, beginning with a motivational Mafalda cartoon. But otherwise, I divided materials into modules, but we could always add different modules depending on the direction that the users of the page are interested in taking it. So, I always have in my courses an administrative module. So anytime any of the CCP stuff comes up, I'll put it in there as kind of an archive for events we've had, professional development you've done. I made a module for graduate studies so that you have a place you can know where to click on to find the everything available on the Spanish MA homepage, but also a way to get to the Facebook page where we announce links and things, events you can share for your students or cultural happenings. But either of those has their own set of links. I made, like my colleagues, the possibility of having different discussion forums, which could, I assume, evolve into, how would you teach this section of the book that's coming up for all of us teaching the CCP class, whatever number. But for now, a placeholder with greetings. And can you go back to the modules? Yeah. Go down. And then I wanted to have a place for teaching resources. So here are resources that we often talk about using among colleagues in the Spanish language, but also cultural studies classes or literature classes. So I just started like a little repository there, an archive, if you will, of places you could go to find different newspapers or interactive grammar lessons, that kind of thing. Same goes for audiovisual resources. The library has a database that's new of films that can be accessed through the BGSU username. So students can have access now to thousands and thousands of films, but also different graduate students who are also instructors have posted links to short films from different countries or music or things like that. So I made a module so we can keep a list of those things, and then if whoever is teaching a different section could look there for ideas for different classes. But at any point we could add new modules. The teaching supervisor for our instructors has a separate page where she organizes the instructors with the syllabi and all those things, but I can duplicate all those materials on this page as well, or we can keep them separate depending on the interests of the users. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Robinson. Just a few final comments about the professional learning communities. As you can say, this is kind of our first initial step at this, so please do take the opportunity to get on the discussion boards and take advantage of the opportunity to suggest topics or open discussions with your fellow colleagues about how you are delivering these classes or how you may be encountering similar challenges in your graduate coursework. We will customize these and make these work for you and make them best for you. Also, we have 4 peer mentors. These are individuals who are currently teaching College Credit Plus or have taught in the high school setting for many years now. In history, this is David Perez, who many of you have already met. In English, Brooke Kukai, who was in the audiovisual presentation from Firelands today. In Spanish, it's Tricia Cavins, who also was a presenter today. And then in biology, Julie Blakely from Anthony Wayne. So these are individuals who are also going to be members of the professional learning community, and feel free to contact them and draw upon their experience teaching College Credit Plus to help you as you go forward with teaching these. Also, I will mention that I am a member of all these professional learning communities as the grant coordinator, so I'm kind of like third person omniscient, kind of always lurking in the background, so I'll be monitoring things. And feel free to post questions for me there as well, and we can certainly connect through the professional learning communities as well. Other than that, just please keep a thought towards always like, oh, this might be a great discussion topic, and feel free to throw one of those up or talk to your PLC advisor to start one of those discussions. I think the Spanish section is already going to be posting all kinds of pictures from their trip to Spain to make us all envious over the summer. So once again, thanks for coming to TeachBG and coming to this last session, and I'll turn it over to Dave Janik for some final comments.
Thank you all very much again. The importance of feedback for us is critical as we make decisions on how to plan these events for the future. So please, as you get those emails, You should have them as you leave here today. Please answer those as quickly as possible. They take only about 5 to 10 minutes to fill out, but again, give us a good idea or direction as to how we plan these events in the future. So safe travels, everyone, and thank you for coming.